The Ghosts of Nymphia. 5,000 words, 25-minute read time. 1. The Derelict Station. The Nymphian station hung in the void like a corpse on a noose. Its hull was pockmarked with weapon burns, the alloy twisted where something had clawed its way out. Jace cycled the Kestrel's airlock, his pulse pistol humming. Scanners show life support, but no life signs, he muttered. Lyria stood rigid beside him, her collar's crimson pulse syncing with the station's flickering beacon. They're waiting, she whispered. Who? The ones who remember. The airlock hissed open. Cold, metallic air rushed in, stale with the tang of old blood and ionized steel. 2. The first memory. Gravity fluctuated as they stepped onto the station. Panels shrieked underfoot, revealing glimpses of blackened corridors below. Lyria's breath hitched. I've been here. A hologram flickered to life, a Nymphian woman in a tattered lab coat, her eyes hollow with grief. CR 912, if you're seeing this, you survived. The Verna experiment wasn't about navigation. It was a weapon. They used your mind to. Static. The hologram dissolved. Lyria staggered, clutching her skull. She's me. Or she was. Jace caught her as her knees buckled. We need to find the control core. 3. The scars of war. The deeper they went, the worse it got. Bodies, Nymphian, Zencorp, things too twisted to name, lined the halls. Some were fused into the walls, mouths frozen mid-scream. Lyria traced a claw mark gouged into the steel. Draxus did this. But not alone. A child's voice echoed from the vents, Lyria, you came back. Jace spun, pistol raised. Show yourself. Silence. Then, a giggle. 4. The truth in the core. The control core was a cathedral of shattered glass and dead terminals. At its center stood a massive neural interface, its cables snaking into the ceiling. Lyria approached it like a sleepwalker. This is where they rewrote me. Jace scanned a nearby terminal. Files flashed. Project Verna. Subject, CR 912, Lyria Prime. Objective, hive mind weaponization. They weren't just erasing your memories, Jace realized. They were uploading them. To control others. Lyria's collar beeped, 5 hours to reset. 5. The children in the walls. Shadows moved. Small, quick things with too many joints. One darted into the light, a Nymphian child, her eyes fully black, veins glowing violet. You promised to save us, the girl hissed. Lyria recoiled. I tried. More children emerged, their skin cracking with the same stellar patterns as Lyria's eyes. The Verna strain, Jace breathed. It's not a weapon. It's a disease. The girl smiled. No. It's evolution. 6. Draxus arrives. The station shook. Alarms wailed as Draxus's warship docked. Jace. Lyria grabbed his arm. The children, they're carriers. Zencorp used them to test the strain, but it changed them. The terminal screen updated. Lyria Prime, final message. A video played. Lyria's own face stared back, bloodied but defiant. If you're seeing this, you're the last uninfected fragment of me. Draxus is coming. Don't let him. The screen exploded. Draxus stood in the doorway, plasma rifle leveled. Time to die, abomination. Truth in the stars. Memories awakening. The healing chamber aboard the Nighthawk hummed with gentle energy as Talia floated in the regenerative solution. Her midnight blue skin pulsed with internal light, patterns shifting like celestial bodies in slow orbit. Outside the translucent chamber, Leona stood with Director Imani, watching anxiously as the last traces of the control compounds were filtered from Talia's system. How much longer? Leona asked, unable to hide the tension in her voice. Director Imani, tall and commanding with intricate silver implants framing her dark face, consulted the monitors. Another hour, perhaps. The collective's neural suppressants are designed to be persistent. But she's strong, her natural biology is fighting back remarkably well. Leona pressed her palm against the chamber's surface. 3 days had passed since they'd arrived at the hidden outpost in the Cerulean Nebula. 3 days of waiting, hoping, and fending off questions from the outpost's suspicious inhabitants. Not everyone was pleased with bringing a collective asset into their sanctuary, even one freed from bondage. Her brainwave patterns are changing, Director Imani observed. See these spikes? Memories returning, most likely. Inside the chamber, Talia's eyes opened suddenly, those galaxy-filled orbs now blazing with internal light. Her back arched, fingers splaying as if reaching for something unseen. Is she in pain? Leona moved toward the chamber's control panel. Director Imani placed a restraining hand on her arm. No. This is necessary. The mind must heal itself. In the chamber, Talia's lips moved, forming words no one could hear. Tears mingled with the healing solution, floating away from her face in glistening droplets. Revelations of origin. Meridia, Talia whispered, her voice still hoarse from disuse. I was born on Meridia. She sat cross-legged on Leona's bunk, wrapped in a thermal blanket despite the warmth of the Wanderer's cabin. Hours had passed since she emerged from the healing chamber, her eyes clearer but haunted by the memories now flooding back. Meridia was a research colony, Leona said, setting down a cup of steaming tea beside Talia. Terraform specialists, if I remember correctly. Yes. Talia's fingers traced patterns on the blanket that matched those beneath her skin. We were creating atmospheres, building new worlds to sustain life. My parents were geneticists, adapting human biology to new environments. She closed her eyes, the memory visibly painful. When the collective came, they weren't interested in our technology or our research. They wanted us. The researchers. The genetically modified colonists. They took your entire planet? Leona asked, horrified. Not the planet, just its people. Meridia still exists, now a collective processing station. They discovered that humans adapted to extreme environments could be enhanced further. Made into specialized tools. Her voice grew bitter. Exotic commodities. Leona reached for Talia's hand, hesitating before making contact. After a moment's pause, Talia's cool fingers entwined with hers. The eyes were my parents' creation, Talia continued. Designed to help us navigate Meridia's frequent dust storms. We could see energy patterns, radiation fields. The collective saw military applications. Surveillance potential. And the skin. Talia lifted her free hand, watching as the patterns beneath the surface shifted like liquid starlight. Adaptive camouflage, originally. Protection against solar radiation. They modified it, made it decorative rather than functional. More appealing to potential buyers. Her galaxy eyes met Leona's. I'm human, Leona. Beneath everything they did to me, I'm human. The hunt intensifies. The outpost's central communications hub buzzed with activity. Leona pushed through the crowd of spacers, smugglers, and refugees until she spotted Director Imani's distinctive silhouette at the main console. What's happening? She asked, noticing the tension in the air. Collective warship. Director Imani pointed to the long-range scanner display. Dreadnought class, signature matches the inevitable justice. Admiral Dravok's flagship. Cold dread settled in Leona's stomach. How did they find this place? The nebula should mask our signature. They didn't find us yet, Director Imani replied, her implants glowing as she processed data streams. But they're implementing a systematic search pattern of the nebula. It's only a matter of time. A tall figure emerged from the shadows of the communications array, Talia, dressed in fitted outpost garments that complemented her unusual coloring. The crowd parted for her, some with reverence, others with fear. "They're looking for me," she stated simply. "Admiral Dravik considers me his property." Leona turned to her. "What aren't you telling me?" Talia's galaxy eyes dimmed slightly. "I was being prepared as a gift for the collective High Chancellor. A prototype for the next generation of enhanced human assets. My abilities extend beyond what you've seen." Director Imani raised an eyebrow. "What kind of abilities?" "Neural interface capabilities. I can connect with and manipulate technology, particularly collective systems." Talia gestured toward the communications array, and the patterns beneath her skin brightened. The displays flickered momentarily. "They planted quantum-entangled receptors throughout my nervous system. The collar was only part of their control mechanism." "That's why Admiral Dravik wants you back so badly," Leona realized. "You're a security breach walking around in human form. And a rather expensive one at that," Talia added with the faintest hint of dark humor. Strategic decisions. "We need to evacuate," Director Imani announced to the assembled leaders of the outpost. "The inevitable justice has launched scout vessels. They'll find us within hours." The meeting room erupted in protests and questions. Leona stood by the wall, watching the chaos unfold while Talia remained unnaturally still beside her. "We have nowhere to go," shouted a grizzled captain. "The next safe haven is 3 jumps away." "We'll scatter," suggested another. "Small vessels in different directions." Director Imani raised her hands for silence. "We've prepared for this contingency. Evacuation protocols are in place." "Because of her," a voice hissed, eyes turning to Talia. "We should just give her back." Leona stepped forward. "That's not an option." "Why risk everyone for one asset?" the accuser demanded. Talia's voice cut through the tension, calm and clear. "Because I can stop them." The room fell silent. "The inevitable justice uses a centralized navigation system," Talia explained. "If I can access it, even remotely, I can disable their tracking capabilities. Perhaps even redirect them." Director Imani frowned. "That would require getting close enough to establish a neural link. Too dangerous." "Not if we use the Wanderer," Leona interjected, an idea forming. "My ship has a modified sensor profile. We could approach under guise of a supply vessel, get close enough for Talia to establish the link, then disappear before they realize what's happening." "It's suicide," someone muttered. Talia turned to Leona. "You've done enough. This isn't your fight." "It became my fight when I bid 25,000 credits for you," Leona replied with a grim smile. "Besides, I'm the best pilot in 3 sectors. If anyone can get us in and out, it's me." Director Imani studied them both. "If you succeed, you'll save hundreds of lives here. If you fail." "If we fail," Talia said quietly, "at least we chose our own fate." Preparations for battle. The Wanderer's engines hummed with renewed vigor after the outpost's technicians finished their upgrades. Enhanced shielding, reinforced hull plating, and a completely overhauled sensor array transformed the utilitarian transport into something more battle-worthy. Leona ran her hand along the newly installed tactical console. "She's never looked so good. Will it be enough?" Talia asked from the co-pilot's seat, where she was integrating herself with the ship's systems. Thin filaments extended from beneath her skin, connecting to the navigation interface. "It'll have to be." Leona began the pre-flight sequence. "How's the neural link coming?" "Functional, but limited." Talia's eyes had taken on a metallic sheen as she processed data streams. "I'll need to be much closer to the inevitable justice to access their systems." Director Imani's voice came through the comms. "Scout vessels are approximately 40 minutes from discovering our position. You need to intercept the mothership before they report back." "Understood." Leona finalized the launch sequence. What's our cover story again? The auction on Helios 9. 5,000 words, 25-minute read time. 1. The smuggler's luck runs out. The docking bay of Helios 9 smelled like burnt circuitry and regret. Jace Veldrin coughed into his sleeve, the recycled air scraping his lungs raw. His ship, the Kestrel, sat in Bay 47 like a wounded bird, her starboard thruster sputtering, her hull patched with scrap metal and prayers. Engine coils. That's all I need, he muttered, tossing credits to a scowling mechanic. The man pocketed the money and spat. Try the black market. Corp taxes cleared us out. Jace grimaced. The black market meant auction block Delta, where the station's underbelly traded in things that hissed in the dark. He'd avoided it for years. But the Kestrel wouldn't make it to the next jump without repairs. 2. A face in the crowd. Auction block Delta was a cacophony of shouting dealers and flickering holograms. Jace shoved past a group of ZenCorp mercenaries, their armor gleaming like insect carapaces. The auctioneer's voice cut through the din. Next lot, CR 912. Prime specimen. Neural-enhanced navigator, obedience protocols intact. The crowd parted. She stood on the platform, barefoot, her opal skin shifting hues under the lights. Lyria. The collar around her throat pulsed blue, a ZenCorp restraint chip. Her eyes locked onto Jace's, twin voids speckled with distant supernovae. Bidding starts at 15,000 credits. A miner in a cybernetic exosuit raised his hand. 20,000. Jace's gut twisted. He'd seen companion models before, bioengineered to serve, to obey. But Lyria's fingers trembled. A glitch? Or something worse? 3. The flaw in her code. The bids climbed. 25,000. 30,000. Jace edged closer. Lyria's lips moved silently, forming words his translator couldn't catch. Then, a flicker. Her pupils dilated, the stars in her eyes flaring. Pain. The collar's light turned red. She gasped, knees buckling, but the auctioneer yanked her upright. Demonstration of compliance. He tapped his wrist pad. Lyria's back arched, a silent scream in her throat. Jace's hand found his pulse pistol. This isn't programming. This is torture. 4. The EMP gambit. He ducked behind a fuel crate, pulling his EMP jammer from his belt. A relic from his smuggling days, it could fry unshielded electronics for 6 seconds. Enough. The auctioneer grinned. Last chance, 50,000 credits. Jace pressed the trigger. Darkness. Screams erupted. Emergency lights bathed the chaos in blood red. Jace lunged onto the platform, grabbing Lyria's arm. Can you run? Her voice was a ghost. Why yes. 5. The chase. Alarms wailed. Mercenaries scrambled, their helmet scanners slicing through the crowd. Jace dragged Lyria into a maintenance shaft, the metal groaning underfoot. Who are you? She panted. Someone who hates collars. A plasma bolt seared the wall beside them. Jace returned fire, his pistol's recoil vibrating up his arm. Left turn, now. They burst into docking bay 47. The Kestrel's ramp lowered at Jace's biometric scan. He shoved Lyria inside, sealing the airlock as bullets ricocheted off the hull. 6. The truth in the stars. Lyria collapsed against the cargo hold wall, her collar's light now solid crimson. Jace crouched beside her. What's it doing to you? She touched the metal. Counting down. When it hits 0. I forget. Again. Forget what? Her star-filled eyes held his. Nymphia. The war. Why they really made me. Outside, ZenCorp fighters scrambled. Jace sprinted to the cockpit. The Kestrel's engines roared to life. "Strap in," he growled. "We're not done yet." The caller's countdown. 5,000 words, 25-minute read time. 1. The Kestrel's secret. The ship's engines screamed as Jace punched into warp speed, leaving Helios 9's fighters in the dust. Behind him, Lyria clutched her collar, its crimson glow staining her silver skin like blood. "Talk to me," Jace demanded, flipping switches to reroute power. "What's this countdown?" Lyria's voice was a fractured hum. "They call it the reset. Every 72 hours, the collar purges my memories. Keeps me obedient." Her star-flecked eyes dimmed. "I've forgotten Nymphia 7 times. Jace's jaw tightened. He'd heard whispers of Zencorp's mind-wiped navigators, hybrids bred to chart unstable warp routes, then scrubbed clean of the trauma. But Lyria wasn't just a tool. She remembered the forgetting. "How long do we have?" 12 hours. A proximity alarm blared. Jace swore. "They're locking onto us again." 2. The ghost in the machine. Lyria suddenly straightened, her pupils dilating. "Turn 32 degrees starboard. Now." "What?" "Do it." Jace wrenched the controls. A plasma missile streaked past, missing them by meters. Lyria's hands flew over the NAV console, inputting coordinates with eerie precision. "There's a neutron star ahead," she said. "Its gravity well will mask our signature." Jace stared. "How did you?" "I don't know." She touched her temple. "It's like, someone else is speaking through me." The collar beeped, its light flickering. Lyria gasped, doubling over. "Free," the voice from the void. Jace caught her before she hit the floor. Her skin was cold as deep space. "Lyria? Stay with me." Her lips moved, but the voice wasn't hers. It was older, fractured. "Nymphia, colony, they lied. The Verna expanse isn't empty. It's a graveyard." Then, silence. Lyria went limp. Jace hauled her to the medbay, slapping a neural stimulant to her neck. She jolted awake, disoriented. "What happened?" "You blacked out. Said something about the Verna expanse." Lyria's face paled. "That's where we have to go." 4. The hunter revealed. On the view screen, a hulking warship dropped out of warp. Its hull bore the serpent insignia of Commander Draxus, Zencorp's most feared enforcer. A comms channel crackled open. Draxus's voice was liquid nitrogen. "Jace Veldrin. You've stolen property. Surrender the hybrid, and I'll let you live." Jace smirked. "Funny. Heard you said that to the Nyx rebels too. How'd that work out?" Draxus's smile didn't reach his eyes. "The rebels died screaming. The transmission cut." Lyria gripped Jace's arm. "He's not just after me. He's afraid of what I'll remember." 5. The fractured memory. Jace initiated evasive maneuvers, but the warship's tractor beam locked on. The Kestrel shuddered, hull groaning. "Ideas," he gritted. Lyria closed her eyes. When she spoke, the words were not her own. "Access code. Delta 9-3 Omega. Input it now." Jace hesitated, then typed the sequence. The ship's AI word to life. "Emergency protocol, ghost drive activated." Space rippled around them. The tractor beam shattered. Draxus's warship vanished. Lyria collapsed, her collar blinking faster. "Who gave you that code?" Jace demanded. Tears cut silver trails down her cheeks. "I think I did." 6. The Verna expanse. The ghost drive spat them out near a nebula of swirling violet gas, the edge of the Verna expanse. Sensors showed wreckage, thousands of ships, some ancient, some still smoldering. Lyria pressed her hands to the view screen. This is where Nymphia fell. A distress beacon pinged. A derelict station orbited a dead star, its hull marked with faded Nymphian script. Jace's blood ran cold. That's impossible. Nymphia was glassed a decade ago. Lyria's collar beeped, a final warning. Then who's signaling us?